Welcome everybody to part two to my reaction to Something for Nothing from Rush off of 2112. We just listened to that whole song and that's it. That closes up the album. We've listened to all Rush up till this point, started at the very beginning, and it's been a ton of fun. So this is 4 studio albums down. Next week we're going to start on a live album and we'll work through that before getting into the next studio album. This has been fantastic. This album has done some serious things to me and really changed my perspective. Before we get into that though, I want to just touch on that last song a little bit. Really, man, so you open with the epic 2112 and it's a whole, it's a story and it's really long and it's got so much going on and it's fantastic. So good. Couple of shorter songs. And then you close out with this song and it smacks so hard because all the instruments, this one, no restraint on this. I mean, the bass is going nuts, the drums are going crazy. I liked what Alex did with the guitar. It was like this, there's more of like a throwback type sound. I don't know what it was about it, but it sounded a lot like the earlier playing. A lot of the technique and the phrasing and stuff was just that cool, simplistic. Yeah, I love that. And the vocals on that track were fantastic. So cool. And the whole thing about it, the Something for Nothing, it just it makes you want to just get it done, It's like, you know what? Yeah, this is my life. I'm just gonna, yeah, it's not just gonna be handed to me. I'm gonna go make it happen and I'm gonna just do it. And that it just kind of has that like pump you up kind of feel to it. And I liked the breaks where it kind of would get a little bit softer and a little more calm, and then the guitars would come in and it's just like boom, right in your face. And oh, jeez. Guys, this album has given me like more chill shakes and goosebumps than anything I've listened to in a very long time. So we're just going to kind of recap a little bit. We'll just go through. I got the track list pulled up here, and you guys know how I felt about 2112. I'm guessing most of you who are watching this have seen that video. What has it been? 5 days, I think, since I did that. And I'm still sitting here like, it changed my life. I had that track on this morning after, I ate breakfast and I was just kind of chilling. I had it going and I'm like, man, it's just cool. It's really, really good. And I don't know what it is. It just kind of makes you feel like this is something special. And of course, the whole story to it, the record company saying, hey, here's what we want you to do, and here's what you're going to do. And if you guys want to be successful, do all the things that we tell you. And they say, no, we're going to be, true to ourselves and all of these things. And they're like, no, we're going to do it our way. And it's like, oh, so glad they did. So glad they did. And it's like, the story in the song. It's like basically just kind of do what we tell you. Like, don't try and think for yourselves. Come on, our way is so much better. And of course, that's just not how life works. The song was an absolute smoker and a life-changing experience. So then the next video, I did Passage to Bangkok in the Twilight Zone. Passage to Bangkok was like the one song I was really familiar with. I said, it was one that I had listened to early on in, when I had started playing guitar. And I think I liked it for the simplicity of it. And it had a bigness to it with the cool riffs and the sounds. And it wasn't overly complex. And it's not at all, prog. It's just straightforward. It's just cool rock sound. And so I loved that. And of course, now hearing it after everything else, I like it even more. Because I have like a deeper appreciation for the band. And so that just like amplified. Now everything I'm hearing is just amplified by, I don't know, I think it's like once you become a fan of the band, it's not just this stupid thing that you just love everything they do, but I think you do appreciate it more because you just, I don't know, you hear more nuances, you hear more character in it, you hear just what they're doing in a different light, and that's really fun. And man, the Twilight Zone, fantastic. Really a spacey sound, a big sound. but also kind of a hollow sound. I guess an atmospheric sound, a big, just surrounding, like overwhelming bigness to it, and multiple layers, and the vocals that were going on, and you know, this stuff sticks and it clicks because I'm like, man, I remember that so clearly. Like when Geddy Lee's singing and then there's like the lyrics being whispered in your ear, it's like, wow, that's just production stuff that sounds so cool. It makes you be like, man, there's the time. There's where they just, you put thought into it instead of just a bunch of guys like kind of, you know, anyone can get down and just jam and hang out with their friends and write something that's kind of cool, but the really thinking it out and adding the layers and the creativity and the uniqueness to it, I love that in a good piece of music. And that was, yeah, different in a really awesome way though. And then I did Lessons and Tears. So then I did Lessons and Tears, and both of those songs were really, really good. I remember the standout for me very much being Tears, though, just because of the uniqueness to it. And it's just different to kind of have like a ballad thrown in. Didn't necessarily feel out of place, but it was kind of a nice calm break from this other stuff that we've been hearing. And I like that they had this really long song to open and then a lot of shorter songs. I mean, every other song is under 4 minutes long, which is, you know, relatively short as far as, you know, any song really. It's like, that's not necessarily a long song at all, especially because I used to be of the opinion that, you know, Rush's songs were just so long and drawn out. And now hearing side 2 of this entire album, they're all short songs, very easy to listen to, relaxing to listen to. And then, yeah, that ballad thrown in was just gorgeous. Really, really loved that. On a whole, you guys, this album, like I said, it changed my perspective of Rush because the first 3 albums were really good. The first one was, you know, it was their first album. And of course, they had John Rutsey on drums. And so it wasn't even really Rush yet. And there was some cool stuff, some enjoyable stuff, but it was that, you know, that kind of 70s rock stuff that I was saying I've never really been too into. And then the next 2 albums, you know, they definitely both had like their mix of songs that I really enjoyed and their mix of material that I really enjoyed. But the songs on a whole, maybe I kind of wanted to like pick apart a little bit. And I was like, well, I liked the guitar, but I didn't really like this. And I wanted more of this, and this could have been a little different, and just kind of feeling that way, like maybe there was a little more that I wanted. But the appreciation was definitely growing for the band, and I could see the progression, and I could see that the production was getting more, and the songwriting was getting more, and the musicality and the instrumentation was getting just better. And this song, it's like, and I know you guys have said they get better, which is super, super exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. But this album was like a perfection of all those things. So they've dabbled in the prog, and now they've mastered it. They've dabbled in the storytelling, and well, now they've mastered it. And even the straight ahead, simple, you know, kind of almost meaningless songs, like, you know, some of their stuff's kind of more deep, and then some stuff's just kind of, you know, it's just a song. But even that stuff is just presented in a way that's better and bigger and fuller and more thought out with more production. And to me, that's the aspect where I'm like, man, they've grown and they've been so polished now. And it sounds more like a tight, cohesive unit just pumping out really, really good music. This is an album I'm going to come back to because, I mean, just look at the tracks on this. And I know some people are like, hey, I haven't given it the love that I give to the other stuff. And that's cool. But, man, I know it's going to be one of those things that if I hear this song or if I see it in a playlist, I'm going to be like, oh, yes, I'm looking forward to this part of it because I remember when I heard it that one time. And that's what makes a great song. It's like you don't always have to listen to it over and over and over again. It doesn't have to be your favorite song. But with a band whose catalog is so huge and they have so many incredible songs, just because one doesn't get played as much as the other doesn't mean that they're not good and that when it comes on, you're not like, oh, I like this. I haven't heard this in a while. This is refreshing. This is cool. And that's how a lot of this stuff's going to be. It's like, yeah, I'll intentionally probably turn on 2112 and, maybe Something for Nothing and stuff like that. I'll search those songs out. But when the other ones come on, I'm like, oh man, the Twilight Zone. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I remember this. This is the good stuff. So there we go, guys. 4 albums down, live albums coming up, and then on through the studio stuff. Now, last time I did mention something about wanting to include more stuff on the channel. I would like to do kind of what I'm doing with Rush with another band. I think that would be cool to break it up. And I love listening to music like this because now I'm like discovering the artist. Instead of a few songs and making judgments on the band as a whole based on a few songs, listening all the way and being like, well, now I've heard, all there is to hear, or I will have heard all there is to hear. Now I can make an ultimate decision based on the fact that I know everything that there is. And that's, to me, it's a way more fun way of doing it than someone being like, oh, have you heard of so-and-so? Have you heard of so-and-so? And listing 2 or 3 songs that you listen to, and you're kind of like, I don't really like them. And so you discount the whole band. That's so foolish. And that's what I've did with these guys before, and it's not very smart, obviously. I've learned my lesson and I've changed my ways. So anyway, if there's a band that you think I should do that to, you guys, or even an album, I'd be willing to do that too. Just work through a band's album. It'd be a lot of fun. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'm guessing most of you are subscribed if you made it this far, but if you are not, please do hit subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you get notified, and leave a comment and a like if you would. Also, consider supporting the channel by following one of the links below. Thank you so much. I will see you with more Rush next week.